The last fluorescent light of the campus library hummed a tired note, casting long, distorted shadows across the deserted study tables. Outside, the world was quiet, muffled by a late-night fog that clung to the old oak trees. Alex, fueled by lukewarm coffee and the stubborn refusal to admit defeat to a particularly dense philosophy essay, was the sole remaining patron. He stretched, the old chair groaning in protest, and pushed his books aside. His gaze drifted to a forgotten corner tucked away behind a seldom-used reference section, a tall, dusty bookshelf overflowing with what looked like ancient yearbooks. A strange curiosity tugged at him, a welcome distraction from the abstract musings of Kant. He ran a hand over the spines, thick with years of forgotten memories, until one particularly ornate cover caught his eye. It was larger than the others, bound in a deep, faded burgundy, with the embossed crest of the university barely visible beneath a layer of fine dust. The year etched onto its spine was indistinct, almost unreadable. He pulled it out, the old paper releasing a puff of musty air. Back at his table, he carefully opened the heavy cover. Pages rustled, brittle with age, showcasing black and white photos of students with earnest expressions, frozen in a time long past. He flipped through pages dedicated to various clubs and sports teams, each face a stranger, each name a distant echo. And then he stopped. The page was different. It wasn't a typical class photo or a club montage. It was a single, stark black border framing a photograph centered on the page. And beneath the photo, in elegant script, were the words, "In loving memory." His eyes, still hazy from philosophical debate, focused on the face in the picture. The shock hit him, cold and immediate, like a splash of icy water. It was his face, unmistakably. The same slightly lopsided smile, the familiar way his hair fell across his forehead. It was a photo, he realized with a jolt, from his freshman year orientation, a picture he vaguely remembered having taken for his student ID. He blinked, rubbed his eyes, and looked again. The same face, and below it, his full name, and then the dates, a birth date that was undeniably his, and a death date that was just a few months after he had enrolled, a date that was several years in the past. A chill snaked up his spine, not from the cold library, but from the profound, unsettling disconnect. In loving memory. How could he be here, now, staring at his own obituary in a yearbook from the past? Was this a prank? A bizarre, elaborate joke? His mind raced, grasping for any rational explanation. He pinched himself hard. He was awake. He was here. His heart hammered a frantic rhythm against his ribs. He closed the book slowly, the cover feeling impossibly heavy. He needed answers. He walked towards the circulation desk, the quiet click of his shoes on the polished floor echoing unnaturally loud in the vast space. Mrs. Gable, the librarian, sat hunched over her computer, her silver hair catching the glow of the screen. She was a fixture in this library, as old and comforting as the books themselves. "Mrs. Gable?" His voice came out as a shaky whisper. She looked up, her expression calm, her spectacles perched low on her nose. She offered a gentle smile. "Still here, Alex? That's dedication." He pushed the dusty yearbook across the counter. His voice gained a little strength, though it still trembled. "Mrs. Gable, I found this in an old yearbook." He gestured to the open page, his finger hovering over his own face. This is me, but it says, "In loving memory," and the dates, they're wrong. I'm still here. Mrs. Gable's smile softened, but a flicker of something unreadable, perhaps sadness, perhaps a profound understanding, passed through her eyes. She leaned forward, her gaze gentle, unblinking. She didn't appear surprised. She didn't gasp. She simply reached across the counter, her hand resting lightly on the open page of the yearbook near his printed name. Her voice was a low, steady murmur, like the turning of a page in a very old book. "We've missed you, Alex," she said, her eyes holding him. "You never really left." The words hung in the air, thick with unspoken meaning. "We've missed you. Not we thought you were gone, but we've missed you." As if he had been present yet absent. The library suddenly felt different. The dust motes dancing in the faint light seemed to swirl with ancient memories. Alex looked at Mrs. Gable, truly looked at her. Her eyes held an immense, quiet knowing. It wasn't a prank. It wasn't a mistake in a printing press. It was something far deeper. He thought about his time at the university, the late nights, yes, but also the days he'd drifted through, barely noticing the world around him. The conversations he'd half listened to, the sunsets he'd failed to see, the friendships he'd let wither from lack of attention. He'd been physically present, yes, attending classes, completing assignments, but had he truly been here? Had he been engaged, connected, alive in the way one is meant to be? He remembered feeling like a ghost sometimes, moving through the bustling campus, observing but not participating, wrapped in his own thoughts, his own anxieties. The weight of expectations, the fear of failure, the constant striving, had it eclipsed the very act of living? Had he, in some profound, unseen way, died to the vibrant experience of being truly alive, truly present? "You never really left." The librarian's words now, not as a denial of his current existence, but as an affirmation of his enduring presence, coupled with a gentle, profound observation of his absence from life itself. He hadn't left physically, but perhaps he had in spirit, in engagement, in the joy of simply being. The yearbook, then, was not a literal record of his death, but a stark, unsettling mirror reflecting a life he hadn't fully inhabited. He looked at the dusty yearbook again, then at Mrs. Gable, a quiet understanding dawning within him. He wasn't dead, but perhaps a part of him had been dormant, waiting for a catalyst to awaken. This encounter in the quiet, dust-filled sanctuary of the library became that catalyst. It was a strange, unsettling, yet ultimately liberating realization. The unloving memory was a poignant reminder, not of an end, but of the importance of truly beginning to live, to be present, to step out of the shadows of simply existing. As Alex finally packed his bag, the library now felt less like a tomb of old knowledge and more like a quiet crucible where truths could reveal themselves. He walked out into the now lifting fog, the chill in the air no longer unsettling, but crisp and invigorating. The world hadn't changed, but his perception of it, and of his place within it, had. This story of Alex and the yearbook is a powerful reminder, isn't it? It invites us to consider our own lives. Are we truly present, or are we, in some quiet way, living as if we're merely a memory? Are we fully engaging with the world, with our loved ones, with our own dreams? Or are we letting life pass us by, only to find later that the most vibrant parts of us were in loving memory while we were still here? Take a moment to reflect on that. Are you fully present in your own story? If this story resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What does being truly present mean to you? Share your reflections in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the quiet mysteries of life, please consider subscribing for more stories that invite us to look a little deeper. Thank you for listening.